Set to get back at it here in the second week of July at the Stafford Motor Speedway in Bonssa Tufa. It feels like the month of July here in Connecticut.
It's really hot. It's really hot, but that's just the way it is. We're used to it, but when it gets that hot, some drivers get hot, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But at the same time, it really tests the teams because the hotter it gets, the less patient people get, whether it's drivers, team members, or you and I, Kyle. So we're in the heat of the racing season, the heat of the summer, and things are going to get turned up even more as we go on.
Let's talk about some of those drivers that got hot last Friday night, including David Arute. First victory in the SK Modifieds this season.
To say he needed that's an understatement. He can tell you himself. I mean, it's been a tough year for that team. They've had multiple incidents in one night. They've had car problems. They finally cleared all of that, and they got to victory lane. A pretty dominating win. He pretty much went wire to wire. He took the lead after the first and only caution of the night, got past Marcotte, and that was that. Couple laps more, maybe Mike Christopher Jr. could have had a shot, but that 82 team, they are hot. We talk about summertime, they are really heating up. First, second in the last three races. We've talked about Moeller being consistent, but Christopher, I think, has got the fastest car on a more consistent basis over the last 3 weeks. We'll see if they can keep that up. It reminds me of 2021 when he won all those big races in the SK 5K, the All-Star Showdown. It reminds me of that time period, so we'll see if they can keep that up, and maybe they'll be fighting for more wins and possibly the point lead.
You mentioned the point leader a moment ago in Andrew Moeller. That 85 team, we talk about them every week. They've been hot since the drop of the green flag back in April.
But they haven't gone to victory lane yet, and that team wants to win. The top fives are nice, but Petty Cash Motorsports, they want to get to victory lane. They're close. They got to execute all 40 laps and hope the brakes go their way. It was a bit tough last week getting through traffic starting mid-pack with just one caution. Still got up to fourth. Not a bad finish for them, but they got to keep going. They got to keep pushing. That victory will come, but when is it going to come? Who knows, because this field is really tough.
In the late models, it was a repeat winner for the first time in over a month. Chris Meyer getting back to Napa Victory Lane.
Did anybody really predict that
No.
a month and a half ago? That 87 didn't really have the speed. Then he got win number one, and then he got win number two last Friday. He was in the right place at the right time. Things were crazy during that late model feature from the get-go on lap 2 when Alex Fern took Tom Fern around off of 2 while battling for the lead. And then in the end, the battle for the lead got even crazier, beating and banging, 3 wide, door to door, and Meyer was just there when it mattered most. Keene led most of that race. It did not work out for him in the last laps of that event after the late caution came out for Verrecchio's spin. By the way, Verrecchio came from 10th to 3rd in the last 6 laps. Another podium for him. But yes, Meyer, back-to-back victories, huge for that 87 team, a big shot of momentum. Kevin Gambacorta was not much of a factor during that race, and he got second. It was a case for Gambacorta where he didn't have the best car, but he still grinded through that 30-lap feature and got a second spot. I have no idea how Verrecchio got up to 3rd in those last few laps, but he made it work. So the class of the field, once again, on the podium. Gambacorta's got the point lead, but Meyer's got the momentum.
You mentioned Daryl Keene briefly, another good run for that 79 team. Been a couple of good weeks since his return to the racetrack after that big hit early in the season in Turn 3.
Well, we saw opening week how fast that car was, a brand new car for Daryl Keene, and since then, consistent top 5 speed for the most part. Just got unlucky with that late caution, but that's the way it goes. Come back this Friday, get it done again. He'll be fighting for more wins in the future.
In the SK Light Modifieds, it doesn't matter how many laps we run, whether it be 11 like last Friday night or the full 20 or 40 on a couple occasions during the season. Tyler Chapman seems to be at the front.
Doesn't matter how many laps, doesn't matter where he starts, because he started 12th and still got up to the lead by the halfway point when the rains came. That 41 team, 5 wins on the year in 8 races. They're just firing on all cylinders, and not many people have an answer for him. The only other car that has really competed with him week in and week out is Nick Hovey, and when he's around, Brian Sullivan. So we'll see if anybody can catch up to him. Behind him, though, some drivers got some much-needed good runs. Megan Fuller, a 3rd-place finish after going through a rough stretch. That's her first podium of the year. Matt Brewer, career-best 4th. Chris Vians, a season-best 5th. Amanda West, DNF last week, back in the top 10 this week, and she's back in the top 5 in points. But nobody has anything for Tyler Chapman yet. There's still a long ways to go, but nobody has anything on a weekly basis for that 41 team.
And one driver that we haven't really talked much about in these shows, Stephen Kalogiannis, gets a top 10.
Yeah, usually when we mention him, it's not for a good reason. He's had a lot of bad luck this season, but he felt confident about the car the week before, just did not get the finish he thinks he deserves. He got a 10th place run last week, his first top 10 in a while, his first top 10 of the season. You got to build off of that. That's a positive, but where he started mid-pack, it's really tough with all those cars. You got to get through it without finding trouble.
In the street stocks, it was the Travis and Travis show.
Travis Hydar versus Travis Downey, the point leader. This round went to Travis Hydar, his 6th victory in 9 races. I mean, that 11 team, when it's a good night, a clean night, they usually end up winning. I think the 3 races he hasn't won, he's either spun or had trouble or DNF. So that 11 team, we know how good they are every single week. Downey did not have enough for him. Really, the field hasn't had enough for him in the last couple weeks. He tried, Downey. He tried so hard to make it difficult on Hydar, but once the 11 took the lead, he checked out once again. Downey gets another podium. That's his 5th straight podium finish in the street stocks. He's finally found that consistent flow that he's been lacking for the last 3 seasons. But he's got to find a way to beat Hydar. He's got the point lead, but if Hydar keeps trimming these points 1 week at a time, that point lead could be in jeopardy.
Yeah, 2 or 4 points a week could add up by the time that we get to the end of September. The limited late models are going to be the star of the show this Friday night, the Riley Generators 30, their longest event of the season, and we do not yet have a repeat winner coming into this, the 10th week of the season.
Unreal. Again, who would have expected that? Kevin Cormier was our most recent winner, and it came in a scare coming off of 2 when he and Jeremy Lavoie got together. It cut Lavoie's tire. He went up and hit Cormier, who made a pretty good save, but Cormier's used to saves like that because when he wins races, he loves to drift around the corners anyways in celebration. Cormier back in the limited late models, 3rd time back, victory lane for the first time this season. He won 6 times previously in this division before trying the late models. We know he's going to be fast in that 14 car. Jeremy Lavoie, bad luck again, finishes dead last. We talked about his worst career finish a couple weeks ago. Well, sadly for him, he won up that last week, finishing 18th. 18 cars in the field, by the way. We might have more this Friday. That field continues to grow. The competition has been fierce. 9 different winners in 9 races, but you still have guys like Patnode and Lavoie looking for victory. Lavoie won this event last year. Be a good time for him to get it done again this season.
Lavoie could be that 10th different winner of the season, but there's a lot of drivers looking to be that first repeat winner.
And one driver I think is going under the radar is Devin Jensick because he has finished second, and 5th in the last 3 weeks. I think that 23 has been the faster car in the division in the last month. He spun twice last week and still got a top 5. He passed a lot of cars to get there, and he started back in 8th to begin with. So I think Jensick, they figured something out in that 23 car. His brother Connor won. Ari, she's looking for that first win still. We expect her to be there on Friday. We'll see what those 3 Jensicks have, but I think Devin is a big threat in this division right now.
Riley Generators 30 for the limited late models, their longest event of the 2024 season this Friday night here at the Stafford Motor Speedway, part of our full 5-division program. All the action gets underway just after 6 o'clock. If you can be here at the racetrack, if you can't, you can tune us in on Flow Racing.